Good morning, world, and welcome to the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast. Good morning to you all again, and happy Saturday. Uh, yes, we are back like a shark attack. We are back like we left some, back like we ain't got no clothes on our back. And for the world is a better place when the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast is taking place. And so, thank you all for tuning in with us this morning as we conversate about the latest sports topics that have taken place from this past week and will be upcoming this week. It is always a blast to have you all tune in to participate with us every weekend. As a reminder that every week we always like to begin our podcast by reminding our audience that the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast can be found on Facebook via the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast community page, on Instagram at the Early Morning Sports Talk pod. Again, at Instagram at the Early Morning Sports Talk pod. YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify as the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast, as well as our own Facebook pages via Brandon Price, Jamar Goodman, and Jones, as well as our guest for this morning, Arianna Emanuel Wright. Today is June 17th of 2023. We have seen yet again another fascinating week in the sports world, where we saw the Denver Nuggets, everybody, on Monday night defeat the Miami Heat in the NBA Finals to gain their first NBA championship in franchise history when Nikola Jokic putting together arguably one of the greatest postseason runs ever by an individual. Additionally, the Stanley Cup Finals began, and now they have concluded between the Las Vegas Golden Knights as well as the Florida Panthers, in which in addition, the Las Vegas Golden Knights on their second Stanley Cup final in their short franchise history has put together arguably one of the most impressive postseason runs in hockey within the last decade and have captured their first Stanley Cup championship. Alongside y'all NBA trade rumors beginning, Chris Paul possibly to the Lakers, Damian Lillard possibly to the Heat, etc., as well as our Chicago White Sox and Chicago Cubs continuing to stink up the joints in very winnable AL and NL Central divisions. All right. And so with that being said, introducing our guest for this morning, our sister, Mr. Ari Emanuel Wright, whom joins us this morning for the first time on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast. And so Arianna has a very impressive background. She is an entrepreneur. She is a current WNBA player. This sister is very educated and is very impressive. She has 4 degrees, an associate's in exercise science, bachelor's in psychology, MS and EDS and career consulting. She studied at Florida State. She studied at University of North Florida. She has been honored by the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, is the first ever academic All-American at UNF, and was selected to the Women's ABA All-Star team. In her free time, Ari trains youth for basketball, etc. She acts, she travels, and manages 2 businesses. She aspires to grow exceptionally in her career, continue to play basketball. Some of her highlights include summer 2023 women's AEBL player, 2023 women's Drew League nominee. Shout out to my boy Kyrie Irving. 2023 WNBA Pro Hoops Combine, winner 22 FIBA League top 3 player, 2021 Athletes Unlimited tryout, 3-way scoring, quick and transition. You can see that from the highlights. Superior rebounding, jumping ability, and NJCAA 7th nationwide in scoring. And yes, and so that's very impressive because you started out at the JUCO level. JUCO from D1 to the ABA. You competed in the Brooklyn Nets Skill Challenge, Athletes Unlimited tryout, FIBA, which is one of the biggest basketball competitions in the world, Los Angeles basketball competition, WNBA combine, as well as the AEBL. And so you've trained also, I see, with a number of great individuals. And by the way, your season stats, 15 points per game, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. You've trained with Jamison Thomas. She, Atlantic Dream player development coach, Ahmad Stock, Chicago Sky player development coach, Todd Jacob, WNBA AU player, Paris Blackwell, Darren Collison's trainer, Milton Chavez, John Wall's trainer. Hugo Ruiz, WNBA NBA trainer, Jordan Lawley, WNBA NBA trainer, and Dorange David, Canadian WNBA NBA trainer. And also, I want to highlight on your business. Everyone, Ari is an exceptional young lady. She is defying a lot of odds. And so this background that we're going through that is long is because it's real. She has a company called Ari Career Consulting, and you can find that online, etc. AK1 is also another brand of Ari's. She has coaching experience in the junior NBA, USA basketball, the junior Washington Wizards, pro skills basketball, etc. And so she's done a number of podcasts, and so now she joins us. And so with that being said, at the end of our podcast, we'll give you where you can find Ari. But for this morning, we got to talk some sports. And so Ari, good morning, my sister. Thank you for joining the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast for the first time. How are you this morning?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here. I'm just grateful to see another day. Yeah, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking.
All right. Yes, thank you for joining us. And so introducing my brother from another mother and one of my partners on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast, Mr. Jamar Goodman. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I am excellent, Brandon. I'm excited because we have a very, very special guest today. So let's get into it.
All right. Yes. And so introducing our other brother, Mr. N. Jones. Mr. N. Jones got to get to the bag. And so we know he'll rock with us when he get a chance. And so with that being said, let's get right into it. And so, Ari, we want to start with you. We want you to give us more of your background. And we want to give you a chance as we get this floor started to tell the world who you are, where do you come from, like what is your background,
right?
And like maybe what goals, etc. are you pursuing? And so again, just we want to know who you are, your background, where you come from, and what are you currently pursuing?
Yeah, I know you talked about a lot of the things. Just hearing it is just, it's very, like I said, I'm very grateful for the opportunities that I've been allowed to pretty much accomplish. I'm definitely not afraid to take risk. I think that's something about me that is very unique. Even if I don't know how to do something, I will jump right into it. I'll try to adapt. I'm just not scared to try something new. I think that's kind of the theme for my life. Growing up, I was always very independent. I remember just being a kid, I would be like, I could do it myself. Like, I want to do it. And so that was something that was always like a running joke. In terms of where I'm from, so I'm originally from Jacksonville, Florida. Yes. And so I pretty much was raised there majority of my life. When I graduated high school, I had a couple of options to go to junior college. And so I didn't go too far. I went to Gainesville, Florida. And so I went to Santa Fe College there. Amazing 2 years. I had really one hell of a coach. And one thing that stood out to me when she was recruiting me, her name is Coach Shanda Stebbins, is that I think she just saw me holistically. When she was recruiting, I think a lot of coaches kind of just focus on the basketball, what the school looks like, what you could, of course, what you could do for them athletically. But I think what really stood out is that she cared about my academics. And so I felt like I needed to focus on that a little bit more, the career side, have that together on top of the sports. Because I think, again, a lot of athletes, and even now, like you see what you do off the court in terms of your branding, you got the NIL deals and all that stuff now, is so essential just in case you don't make it pro. And so I went to junior college, did that, really great experience. I transferred to the University of North Florida. So I went back home for the last 2 years of my collegiate career, got my bachelor's degree in psychology, my minor in creative writing. Around my junior year, I realized that I really want to figure out what career looks like for me after graduating. So immediately I thought about grad school. Like, I wanted to continue on and get more education because I felt as though I didn't have strong work experience to go right into the working field. My coach at the time asked me about overseas. I wasn't really I really wasn't motivated to do it at all. So I didn't want to force it. I didn't mind taking the break and just getting more education. And so that's why I went to Florida State University, got my master's and EDS degrees in career counseling. Very hard program. It was like one of the most intense 2 years of my life. It challenged me a lot. It was so many times I wanted to give up. I was doing a lot. How much time do you have? But like literally, I was doing so much because I didn't want to take out loans. Because like in undergrad, I pretty much they have this thing called Florida prepaid, and so you can utilize that to pay for your education. So since I had a scholarship in undergrad, I didn't use any of it then. So I used some of that funds for my grad school. Of course, I still had things to pay for. So I mean, on top of my grad assistantship, I was doing a research fellowship. So it was like this 1.5 million grant that the school got to get like a cohort of students from Florida State and FAMU to do research on social justice and education. So they gave us like $12,000 each to use for doing the project. And so I used that. I was working in intramural sports part-time. I was teaching, counseling. So again, just grinding because again, I didn't want to take out loans, but at the same time, I wanted to gain as much experience as I could. From there, I started job searching. I didn't find much in Florida, so I moved to Richmond, Virginia. I missed basketball at this point, and so that's why I did the WABA. It was a team called the Richmond Roadrunners. So mind you, I didn't play in like 2 years, like for real, like team organized basketball. And so I felt very proud that I was able to come back and then become an all-star in my first inaugural season, their first time having that team together. And that was like 2021. From there, just still playing all the stuff that you listed. I'm currently not in that league, but I am starting the AEBL for this summer for that league. I'm trying to think. Outside of basketball, like playing, I'm coaching. And so I am a trainer for an AAU organization called Pro Skills Basketball. And so I do individual group sessions with middle school kids, kind of just teaching them the fundamentals, very patient, a lot of energy. They really make me happy. I enjoy that a lot. I also am working with Monumental Sports and Entertainment. And so under that, I'm a youth basketball coach. And so anytime there's like a camp or a clinic going on with the Wizards, the Mystics, or in the G League team, like I go up there to DC. It's like about 2 hours. I'll take the drive and I just go up there for the opportunity just to grow, make connections, and also just be around the youth because they're just, again, it's such a blessing to be able to give back in that way. What else? I recently finished the sales academy with the Cleveland Cavaliers. So that was virtual for 6 weeks. Again, a great way to just learn sports sales. We did role playing. We met members of executive leadership. Yeah, so I mean, it's so much that I just put my hands into because, and to answer your question about goals, people ask me a lot, like, what is your end goal? I don't know my end goal right now. For me, my vision is just to continue to evolve and elevate and just take the opportunities that God has allowed me to take. Because I think the problem is, especially now in society, we look at everybody else and we're like, I need to take that same opportunity. Like, no, it's going to come to you. You have to be patient and you have to know what's your right fit, because what will work for me may not work for you. And so again, I'm just extremely grateful that I'm able to just manage my time, be healthy at the age of 25. And I don't know how much time I have left. And so that's why I just, again, want to take those risks and just do what I'm blessed to do, and use my talents, use my intelligence, and be patient and just be excellent as possible, and so that's right. Just a little bit about me. Yeah.
Let me jump in, Brandon, real quick. Once again, very impressive background. Like, you have done a lot at such a young age, in my opinion.
That's the thing about a young age.
Yes. And so you talked about, being around the game, either you're playing or you're coaching or something like that. What was your influences growing up? How did you find love for the game? I'm assuming you love basketball for you to still want to do this. Who were your earlier influence? Like, who inspired you?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say when I was younger watching basketball, definitely Dwayne Wade. That was one of my favorite players, like elementary, middle school. And I would also say my dad. So pretty much, like my biological father is not in my life, but my dad raised me, like my stepfather, he raised me. He influenced me so much to just stick it out, play the game, learn the game. Growing up, we didn't even have a basketball hoop outside. So what I was doing, I was shooting on the roof of the house. And obviously that was messing up the garage ceiling. So he's like, we're gonna get you a goal. But I mean, so that was I'm very grateful for him for getting that. I'm grateful for my mom for putting me in sports at a young age. I would say her as well, because at the time, so it was about 6 or 7, it was us two. And so I was doing like t-ball, gymnastics. I did competitive cheerleading, volleyball. I did track. Like I did so many things. And I think that kind of helped me be, again, very well-rounded from a young age. Like I was always doing something different. And I think nowadays it's not a bad thing, but I think kids now, they're like doing one sport and sticking with it. But you could do different things, and it helps your body too. When you are not using the, I guess, same muscles the whole year,
Right.
and so you could try different things. So yeah, they heavily influenced me. My brothers as well, like they always looked up to me. They still look up to me. And so I would say family, of course. Looking now, I would say that Russell Westbrook is definitely that why not mentality is something that always sticks with me. But yeah, it's a number of things, but I think just as a kid growing up playing outside, growing up playing against only guys made me very mentally and just physically resilient, for the game. Because, I was the only girl out there willing to do it, and they didn't take it easy on me. And so I respected them because, some guys are like, okay, it's a girl, whatever, but no, like they were rough. So, I mean, I think that influence as well just kind of helped mold me into who I am today.
Nice.
Yeah, it's very nice. I once played basketball recently, and I told a lot of the young guys, "Hey, take it easy on me. I'm getting old," and so they didn't take it easy on me. I scored 2 points and 3 rebounds. So yeah,
Got on the board, so
right. It was 2 clutch points. It was a layup that helped put us up 2-0. And from there, it was like, let's stick him. He can't score no more. So from there, just got rough on him.
Yeah.
And so yeah. And so with that being said, Jamar, that is a great question, my bro. And so Ari, at this point, you ready? You ready to talk a little bit of sports with us?
Yeah, of course.
All right. And so this past week we had the NBA Finals. And so we saw a very, very, very impressive finals run from the Denver Nuggets. And we see that they have been crowned the NBA champions for the first time in their franchise history. And so just curious, Ari, we'll talk with you. Jamar, you can go after Ari. Ari, in regards to this NBA Finals, what are your thoughts? And let's see, just how was the Denver Nuggets able to dominate the Miami Heat so much in this series?
Honestly, I think for them, the work was done early. Like this season, of course, was great, but they've been pretty much setting that foundation for the past couple seasons. Injuries, of course, held them back, but I think just playing team ball understanding that they have those different strengths. Like Jokic is like everything on the court, you know, from the point guard to the big man, can shoot the three, facilitates. Jamal Murray, you know how clutch and just a great of a player he is. They bring in Aaron Gordon. I can't think his name. Michael Porter coming
MPJ,
in, bringing in that energy. And then you got the coach who knows how to coach. I think that, you know, it seems simple, but being able to put all that together is, you know, why they dominated. I think Miami, I be honest, I knew it was going to be Denver winning the series. Because Miami, I think the energy, you know, they should have swept the Celtics, or at least won 4-1, but having to fight back and do that, then come and play a team that was well rested, they're on a run. It pretty much was, you know, pretty much obvious who was going to win that series there.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Jamar, same question for you, bro.
I mean, she made a lot of great points there that, you know, I would co-sign for sure. We know that, like she mentioned, Miami, you know, exerted a lot of energy in these playoffs, especially in that last series. And so when you get to the finals and you don't have the same intensity, we all expecting Jimmy Butler to,
So
we all expect Jimmy Butler to, you know, have that same motivation, that same energy that he did in the beginning when he was going against Milwaukee, when he was going against, you know, the Knicks. And then towards the end of that series against the Celtics, it's like, Jimmy, like, you only showing up in spurts. So when you get to the finals, it's like, it's not there. And that team really thrives off Jimmy Butler's energy. That's just what it is. I mean, in order to make the finals with half your team basically undrafted, just getting a bunch of guys that actually play together and, you know, buy into the same thing with no egos to make it that far, that's impressive within itself. So for them to make it there, that's an accomplishment. But yeah, Denver, you know, too good. Like she mentioned before, this team was, you know, they've been together for a while. I mean, remind you, you know, Jokic's been there for 8 years, Jamal Murray 7 years. They all had the same coach. You know, back in the bubble, you know, they were showing flashes then. Jamal Murray gets hurt after only having 8 games with Aaron Gordon at the deadline. And now when you bring in all these pieces and Jamal Murray's back healthy, Bruce Brown was a phenomenal piece. Christian Brown from Kansas, he is back-to-back champion now, one shape or fashion. I mean, the team is good.
Yeah,
they're good.
KCP.
Yeah, and then I didn't even mention, you know, the Joker, who is just he's all time, man. He is all time.
Yeah, he is all time. And so speaking of, let's say random questions, Ari. In their prime, it was a question that was brought up on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast. In their prime, who would you take on your team? Would you take a prime Joker or would you take a prime Shaq?
Ooh. I'm gonna have to go with Shaq. Dude was insane. Especially just he just dominated. Like no question. And I think, I think in today's game is different because the game is more fluid. Like you have to know how to you have to know how to shoot and pass when you're a big man. But like back then, if he would have stayed like healthy, he definitely would have won even more rings for sure. And he even said that, like, if I would have taken care of my body, taking it more serious, and I agree, like, dude was insane. Nobody could stop him. He was breaking freaking goals. Yeah. So yes, no question.
Yeah, you know, because it's people out there that are really making points for Joker. I'm with you. I'm Shaq. But, you know, you got folks on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast page that feel that since Joker can do everything, that, you know, it'd be tough because neither one of them, they say who gonna stick who? You know, like, has Shaq gonna stick Joker who can do all that he can do, right? And then had Joker gonna stick Shaq when Shaq get near the rim.
He's not.
Like, if
he's not. Yeah.
When near the rim, it's over. It's nothing he can do. And so, Jamar, what's your thoughts on this, bro? Prime Shaq, prime Joker.
I'm creating a trifecta here. I'm definitely prime Shaq. I mean, look, growing up, watching Shaq, when I was young, watching Shaq with the Magic, and then when he actually gets to the Lakers at this point, and from a stretch, I want to say from like 99 to like 03, 04, like virtually unguardable. Like they created a hack a Shaq rule. Like when you change the rules for somebody because you're that dominant, like that tells me everything. I mean, the picture I posted on our group page with him dunking on the whole New Jersey Nets team in the finals. The whole team is in the picture. Like you're not stopping that.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
I think it's too early too. It's too early. I mean, I think because Jokic, isn't he like 28 or something?
Yep.
Yeah,
something like that.
It's not like his career is over yet. It's too soon to like having these conversations. I kind of hate when people do that.
Yeah.
I get it. It happens quite often.
Yeah.
More times than it should. Basically, you want to wait till the guy's actually done with his career. So yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the folks bring it up and it's like, are you guys serious? Like, really? You know, but folks, they bring it up because they're like, hey, you know, he can do everything, multiple things. And so,
let me jump in really quick. I know you mentioned Dwayne Wade was your favorite. I think was your favorite player growing up, or the one that you really look to as far as the NBA. Is Miami your favorite team then?
No, it's not my favorite team. I don't even have a favorite team right now. I really
that was the next question. That was the next question, Ari.
Yeah, because really, I'm a fan of Russell Westbrook right now, or really for a while. So wherever he goes, that's my team.
Okay, so all right. So with that, how do you feel about Westbrook from how he started this year with the Lakers and to him being with the Clippers? I feel like it was night and day. But what are your thoughts?
I think playing for the Lakers, you really have to. It's a lot that comes with that. Just really wherever LeBron is, if you're joining forces with him, you got to be ready for the pressure, being in the media. You got to be ready to shoot, catch and shoot or whatever. And I think for him, the Lakers wasn't a good fit. I don't think it was coached well at the time. Obviously the team that was put together just wasn't aligned with the way that he plays. He's a very like ball dominant player. High energy, but catch and shoot is not his thing, you know. And so I think that's the type of players that LeBron puts around him because he drives and kicks, which is great for him at his age. But when he gets to the Clippers, he dominates, you know. And I think if Paul George and Kawhi Leonard were there, it would have been a different series, of course.
Yep.
But when he got there, you know, he's like, oh, he's doing this. Like he's always been doing this. He's always been high energy. Like, dude is a triple double walking, you know, like it's not, I think the media likes to pick and choose who they want to pretty much just be nasty to. They try to say that Carmelo Anthony couldn't play anymore, you know, and so it's just aggravating how bad the media can like make someone, you know, look. And it's like, no, Russell Westbrook is a living legend, you know. I love his energy, his drive, and through it all, he still stays resilient. Wherever they put him, he's gonna be great, you know. But the Lakers just wasn't a good fit for him. So yeah,
absolutely. Right. Yeah. He did rejuvenate himself, didn't he? Like, man, when he got with the Clippers, whew, and you could tell he got back, Jamar. I mean, in the first round, you know, when he put up like 40 against Phoenix. And so I'm like, all right.
I mean, that was the team that if they were healthy, I felt like probably would have came out the West. And it's not no disrespect to Denver, because Denver is a great team. I just felt like that was their moment until injuries occurred once again. So it's like, what can you do?
Right.
Yeah, from a pick standpoint, definitely. If the Clippers would have, you know, stayed healthy, they would have been a definitely popular pick. Definitely a popular pick to go against the Denver Nuggets. And so, Ari, and it's for you as well, Jamar. With the Denver Nuggets winning the NBA championship this season, with that core that they have, we go through their roster, Joker, you know, you got Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, KCP, Bruce Brown, Michael Porter Jr., this little kid from Kansas who came out of nowhere, Energized Bunny. With these core pieces and the youth of this team, do you think this team is, let's say, the favorite going into next year? Do you think that they got the consensus to be around for years to come?
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely just because, like you said, a young core. They know how to play together now. They got the experience now. As long as there's no injuries, they can make something shake. I mean, even like it kind of just reminds me of like the Bucks. You know, without injuries, I think they could have even came out of the East. Yeah. So that's the tragedy in sports. Like it really messes up things. But it's interesting. I was actually talking to one of my colleagues the other day. Like the international players, like are really hot right now. They're making the league because I think, Giannis, they won in what, 2021?
Yep.
Yeah.
So he was international, bringing that in. And then now 2 years later, Jokic international, winning a championship. And so it's kind of changing the dynamic.
The landscape is changing.
Yeah. So, I mean, they are like the top 2 players right now, in my opinion, in the league. So it's very interesting. Big man doing everything. So scary times.
It's interesting times, isn't it? Then on top of that area, you know, I live in Guadeloupe. Guadeloupe is French territory. Jamar, we've been watching this 7'5" dude named Victor Wembanyama. He's 7'5" and can do what he can do. So it's like,
right?
How can you stick this guy? How? Like, you know, like you just gotta try to, you know, take the ball out of his legs, you know, hopefully, but you know, that's about it.
I don't know. Like he's insane, like the type of player. I'm scared of injuries though. He's so little in the game.
Yeah. You're scared of injuries because he's so large. Like he could end up being like a Greg Golden, Yao Ming.
Right. And the speed of the game is different, you know. And so I think as long as he recovers well, like does a lot of recovery, strength training, I think he can be fine. I mean, I even think about Kevin Durant. At his size, he's very small, but like knows how to handle the ball, knows how to shoot lights out. And at his height, you can't stop his jump shot. Same way Jokic can't stop the jump shot. He's like shooting from up here. So it's interesting.
Yeah. Saw Anthony Davis and LeBron's face in the Western Conference Finals when he cocked way back here.
Oh my gosh, it was heartbreaking. Like, very heartbreaking.
It's like how do you defend that, you know? And so, Jamar, are the Nuggets primed to be a team that would be, a force to be reckoned with for years to come? And do you think that they should be the favorites going into next season? Which is another interesting question, Ari, because we need to talk about who's the favorite going into next year. Because there might be some other teams out there that might say, hey, we was injured.
Right.
True. I mean, can they be a force to reckon with for years to come? Sure, they can. But as we know, we live in a microwave society, so we kind of like want results instant. There's really no time for patience anymore. Why you see all these coaches getting fired, right? Even though they won championships, they out the door in the next year and a half to 2 years, which is wild. And the reason why I bring that up is teams gonna make moves in the blink of an eye to counter whatever, whoever did something. Like for instance, Denver won, so who's gonna make the next move to counter? So you have, teams like Phoenix, who, we expect them to do something this offseason. We expect probably Chris Paul not to be there. We expect probably DeAndre Ayton. I don't know where he's at. He's still lost. I haven't seen him since the semifinals against Jokic. I don't know where that man's at. But you got teams like that. You have teams like the Clippers, who, we just mentioned with all the injuries and stuff, but I feel like, they get Westbrook his money, they run it back. I mean, they just as formidable as anybody. You got an up-and-coming team like the Sacramento Kings, who shocked a lot of people, who was probably, a few minutes away from going to the next round. I would say Memphis, but, Josh chilling for a while. The Lakers could, the Lakers are always in the mood of making flashy moves. And then you got the Eastern Conference.
They rumored to get Chris Paul. Or they rumored to get another big man out there.
I tell you this much: the Lakers are always rumored to get somebody every offseason.
Yeah, they're the Lakers.
Yeah, and the Laker fans will agree. Like, we gonna get everybody. That's just what it is.
Everybody.
Yeah.
The Bucks. I mean, that's the team that I had winning it all before it happened. So, like, we both, all of us mentioned, you know, injuries play a part. But I'm hearing things that they might go after Bradley Beal. They get Bradley Beal. Oh my God.
They're my
So I mean,
if they get Bradley Beal.
man. So yeah, can they be a force to reckon with? Sure, but it's just more so staying healthy and making the right moves and continue to play for one another. That's just what it is.
Right. And so, yeah, you know, like Golden State, you know, I mean, I possibly already Golden State got at least one more run in them.
Yeah, I never count them out.
Ever.
It would be totally disrespectful to count Steph Curry and those guys out.
Yeah.
And so you got a lot of good teams out there. The Heat, are you guys hearing that it's rumors that Damian Lillard could leave Portland and finally go to a contender?
I mean,
he's aggravating.
he's so passive aggressive with it because he'll never come out in the forefront say that he wants to be out, but he'll go on a podcast.
Right.
Hypothetically speaking, yeah, I could play for Miami or Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Like, are you requesting a trade or not? Like, let us know.
Right. He frustrates me. It's like, dude, like, loyalty does not matter in 2023. Just leave. Just leave. Win a championship.
Right.
Hey, he just want to stick to his morals. That's all.
It doesn't matter.
So he love him some Portland.
Oh man.
Portland is not even like, like, go to Miami.
I'm sure it's a way better lifestyle.
There's so many different cities you could go to. I don't know.
No, I get it. It's like it'd be one thing if Portland was trying to build a contender around him.
Yeah,
but
trying.
No, ever since I feel like ever since they got rid of their wing defenders that one year, I think that was back in 20. I think during the bubble, right before somewhere around there, where they got rid of
right around
perimeter
after
defenders.
the bubble.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Once they did that, it went downhill because they couldn't stop anybody. They couldn't guard anybody, and then all of a sudden they just couldn't win the games. It was a wrap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And you know, Portland, I mean, you know, it's a nice city. It's, you know, I hear it rains a lot, and so, you know, it's similar to Seattle. You know, you get your
That's
rain.
The PNW for you.
You know, Pacific Northwest.
He's focused on his career.
Yeah, and so you really bring up a really good point here in regards to there is really not much loyalty here, you know, in basketball at this point in people's careers, especially for a person like Damian Lillard. But it just brings me to a point, Ari, of shouting out the vets. Shout out to Jeff Green, y'all, first NBA championship, finally.
Yes.
Finally. He got that first ring, and I was just so happy to see him finally get that first ring, in which he contributed. He was out there, he was a vet, he was playing, he was scoring. You know, Joker was making easy shots for him. That was really, really nice to see. Shout out to DeAndre Jordan. Finally got him a ring after all those busts with those LA Clipper teams.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
And we talk about Jamar's best friend, Doc Rivers, in which Jamar went on a very infamous rant. Ari.
Don't.
Doc Rivers. I told him to be easy because Doc Rivers is from Chicago. But Jamar, he did not care. He just, you know, went with everything he felt. And he gave an infamous rant on Doc Rivers and how much of a bust he is.
To keep it real simple and PG, I called him overrated. It was a lot worse than that, but he's overrated to me.
Oh yeah, but he will get a job though. That man,
and he shouldn't. And he shouldn't.
It's so interesting. Like, it's like, how do you not hire Doc Rivers? Like, you gotta hire him.
No, you don't.
You don't. Why do they keep hiring him?
Like, go chill out on your couch. You're done. It's over.
I thought it's just plenty of exam. I'm like, no, his career is over. It has to be over, right?
No.
Right.
Dude, when Jason, like, the way that you lost Game 6, you had a chance to go to Eastern Conference Finals. The way you lost that game, and the fact that I saw Jason Tatum do a size my man up at the top of the three, and hit a heat check 3 all net, I'm like, it's over. You getting blown out. You shouldn't have another coaching job ever again. You're done. It's over. And he can't go into broadcasting because ain't nobody can hear him talk anymore. So you just got to go sit on the couch. It's over.
He's gonna
Yeah,
get
it's very interesting, y'all, because he's rumored, y'all, like heavy, like seriously, he's rumored for the Jazz, and as an assistant coach for the Lakers.
interesting.
So, but I feel like he can end up in a management position too now, a GM role, one of those roles, because he's been around the game so long. You could create a job
think
for
that
him
I
somewhere
think
because he's been around the game. He's a vet.
no, I can't agree with the GM job because I think the Clippers gave him GM role and coaching at the same time, and that was a big flop. So just go sit on the couch, dude.
Well, I think he was he GM for the Sixers too, or was it somebody?
Nah,
that's Daryl Morey.
It was Morey, Daryl Morey, the infamous Daryl Morey. And so, I do think he lands in something though. I think he lands in something. I don't know what, but he's come up short a whole lot. But even amongst that, right, Ari, he's been in the playoffs a lot.
Yeah,
he's been to the finals. Twice in his career? No, 3 times. He's been to the conference finals a lot, come up a lot, second round a lot, short a lot of game 7 losses, a lot. So you got all those things, but you got a few little things that were positive. Although people might say for that Celtics team, you had Ray Allen, you had Paul Pierce, you had Rajon Rondo, you had like a great team. Kevin Garnett, like you had a squad there, a baby Tony Allen, so it was a lot he had with that Boston team. And so the Lakers was injured that year. People say like, oh, the Lakers was injured. And so they're like, Kobe would have got him that year. But it's a lot of other stuff. And so like he got it done with that team, but he hasn't gotten it done outside of that. And which he's coached for. I remember Doc Rivers being a coach, y'all, since I was a kid. Right, y'all? Like he was a head coach when we were shorties, like 90s. And so that goes to show you he's coached for what, almost 3 decades?
Yeah.
Like he's been around for a while to not accomplish a lot. That Stadium Jamar, somebody's still gonna hire and watch.
Oh yeah.
Jeez. We do have a comment here. I think this was a little while ago when Ari was talking about the media and stuff. Deshaun said the media are terrible, man. They pick one struggling player, then they pick him apart until he's even in his own head about his struggles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they do.
They did that to Westbrook for sure.
Oh yeah, I was like, why does the media hate Westbrook so much? I don't understand. He's the nicest guy.
Think they weren't ready for him being a blunt person, Ari.
Yeah.
Russell Westbrook, blunt, real, say what he feel, don't hold back. He's when he talk is very precise. He says exactly that. And so, sometimes people make him, he's a bad guy. He's a douche. He's a this, but I've heard it too, Ari, that he is one of the nicest
guy. Everybody says that, but I think what made it worse too, because, they had that, it kind of, definitely started that narrative after, OKC broke up. And so they try to pin everything on him, and Katie is saying again, there's no bad blood, but I think it definitely started at that moment.
Yeah, I agree.
They couldn't, finish that series. I think they were up 3-1.
Yeah, against Golden State.
Yeah, and Katie just wasn't in his form yet. He wasn't truly him like he is now. So it started from that moment, and he's had to again be resilient all these years through the media, through all that. It's pretty sad. I know they're millionaires, but I mean they have feelings. They're human. So it's interesting. Yeah, I don't see how they do that.
Yep, absolutely. And so, yeah, I want to ask you another question, Ari, in regards to basketball, WNBA. And so, do you have, let's say, a favorite WNBA team? And for this upcoming season, are you looking at which teams are you potentially looking at to possibly win it all in the WNBA this season?
I'm gonna have to go with the Aces automatically. I mean,
Okay.
they're just too dominant. And then they added Candace Parker. So I mean, I definitely see it being the Aces and the Liberty. You know, I feel like that's what they're trying to make happen. But Aces are gonna win it all. I don't have a favorite team. But there's just so many great players. You got Courtney Williams, you got Arike, Sabrina. It's just so much talent. And I just, again, the women's game is very much respectable because of just how you have to know it. It's not about dunking. I know they're like, if you throw the rims and all that stuff, but it's not about that. Like if you truly enjoy and love the game of basketball, you will see how great it is, you know, and it's not an easy thing to do. These are the best players in the world playing on the court day in and day out. So yeah, Aces are gonna win. No question, they're repeating. Yes.
Yeah, it looks like they're undefeated too right now.
Yeah.
Man. I think, if I'm not mistaken, earlier, doing what Brandon was reading off, you would participate in the WNBA combine this year?
I'm sorry, what was that?
You participated in the WNBA combine this year?
Yeah, so they had like it was called the Pro Hoops Combine. So it was they always do it in like the same city of like the NCAA Women's Final Four.
Okay.
So it was in Dallas. Yeah.
Word.
So again,
Word. Never knew that.
Yeah, so it was really, really great experience. Bunch of talent from whether that be they played, you know, overseas or just came out of college. And pretty much like an all-day thing, just a bunch of scrimmaging, drills. So yeah, very good. I was sore after it was so much work being put in, but it was an amazing experience for sure.
That sounds amazing.
Man, and roughly how many athletes was there? Roughly, if you know.
Maybe 60 or 70, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, so a good number of women there, yes.
Wow. That is awesome. That is awesome. And so just curious, do you have to be invited or, you know, is it a word of mouth thing? Like, how does that go?
Yeah, so you do have to put in like an application and then they let you know if you're in or not. Yeah.
Yeah, so that means, yeah, she's a part of an exclusive club because, you know, I don't just see the WNBA saying, hey, you could come, play with us.
Pull up.
Yeah.
Right.
It was very cool. I mean, they had like literally WNBA coaches there, like coaching staff that are sitting there watching things of that sort. So yeah, really great experience.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, Jamar, because I got a question again for the WNBA after.
Same for me. I was going to ask, is there any players in the league that you like or try to model your game after, or do you just follow in general right now?
Yeah, I would say Courtney Williams, definitely just, again, energizer. And I would say my game is very similar to hers. I just love how great she's in transition, and I love a good pull-up. I think I am a proponent, like the pull-up is not dead. I think I hate when I see especially like the kids that I coach, and you're smaller, I'm like, you can't get to the rim every time. You're gonna have to add like a floater or a pull-up to your game. Like in transition, if you have it, like take it, and I think I highly respect that. And then again, like your energy that you bring, and that's something that she does. She just got traded to Chicago and she's bringing that.
Come on. I was going there, Ari.
Yes. So yeah, I mean, it's just, I highly respect her game. She's one hell of a player.
Yeah, and the crazy part about it, Ari's a big fan of Courtney Williams. Courtney Williams, Jamar, ended our season last year. She got hot in the fourth quarter, in which we was ready, Ari, to celebrate. Oh, we're going to go back to the finals. And they just hurt our hearts right in the fourth quarter. We were right there. Chicago was getting crunk, Jamar. The crowd was ready. We're going to go back. And Courtney Williams, just happened. Courtney Williams happened, Jocelyn Jones happened, Brianna Jones happened, and they took our heart. Elisa Thomas happened, all of those few little minutes, and the Connecticut Sun just hurt our heart and ended our everything. You know, Candace Parker stormed off the court, if you remember, Ari. She ain't say bye to nobody. You know, that was the way she left. It was like, oh man. And so I see why you like Courtney Williams. She is very solid, very good player. And it's very, very surprising that you mentioned her, Ari, because a lot of people don't talk about her, right, Jamar? Everybody talk about Candace Park. Everybody talk about Sabrina Ionescu. You know, everybody talk about, Brianna Jones, etc. But not enough people talk about a Courtney Williams, somebody that's a true role player, somebody that is a winning player. And we got a good team with her now. Chicago Sky is actually a good basketball team, and I don't know nobody that's a big name on that team right now since we got rid of all our superstars.
Yeah, it's truly a competitor, and definitely like you said, underrated. You know, but I mean that's the media though. I mean, they pick and choose.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely factual.
It is. Yeah.
Absolutely factual. So speaking of the media, so Brittany Griner, we know what happened with her recently. Situation happened with her overseas in which, she was arrested. She's come back now. She's in the WNBA. She's playing. What do you think about that whole situation with Brittany? And how do you feel to see her playing now? And I don't know if you heard recently, but she was in the airport. And she's been selected to get charter flights, guys, because when people are seeing her, she's like a rock star. But also people are antagonizing her. Right. A guy ran up to her and tried to hurt her, but security held the guy back, etc. And so how do you feel to see her still getting hate from people when all she did was bring a vape to a different country?
Yeah, it's a very unfortunate situation. Like, that's scary. Like, what if this man was crazy and was like had a gun or had, you never know. Like, that's very scary. I know, like, that's traumatizing. She probably is gonna be, have PTSD every time she goes to the airport now, because that's just not cool. That situation was like very crazy. And again, like, it seems so simple, but like when you're Black overseas and then you're a woman and you're gay and she's very masculine, so all of those things in consideration, I think of course that's why she was treated so badly. And then in terms of her coming back and being able to like play still, that was surprising for me. But I respect it. I honestly thought she would come back and like just do media all the time and just kind of continue to share her story that way. But I don't know, like maybe she'll reconsider playing playing or not next season based on that experience. But it's interesting because I can kind of see both sides too, and I don't want to get canceled for that, but it's just, I think there's so many people in America, especially Black people, that are in jail for like weed and for, the smallest of things, like in terms of drugs, and they're not getting out, and so I think that's why people are so angry about that. But the fact that, she's, considered a celebrity and, that's how she got so much like media coverage over that, obviously. Still an unfortunate situation. Of course, I don't know. I can never fathom that experience over there like that. We still don't know really what happened while she was in. Exactly. They're not going to put that out. Great that she got out. But again, I can see both sides because there's a lot of tragedy going on in terms of the drugs and being in jail for that. And so, and
considering a different country too, Ari, their rules are not our rules.
Right, exactly. So people are like, you at the same time, like you have to be aware of that. And when you are going outside of America, that's not America anymore. They can do whatever they want. And I think about me, you know, if I was in this situation, I'm not getting out. I'm not gonna say I'm a nobody, but I mean, I'm not Brittany Griner. And so I think people were kind of thinking about that too. Like if this was just some average person, you know, this wouldn't be in the news, you know.
Right.
So that's kind of why I'm kind of seeing both sides. I think
Mhm.
in
Mhm.
that moment, I guess I could see like I guess I was kind of expecting her to like use her voice more in terms of what's going on in America right now
Mhm.
with, you know, people being in jail for like marijuana and all those things too. So yeah.
Right, right. I see your point, she's, still likely though getting that craft together for basketball. She just got that together, she's playing, just as of recent. Um, she's, kind of getting back to form a little bit, Ari, it looked like a little bit.
Yeah.
She's had a few good games.
Right.
She dunked once this season, only once.
Mhm.
We used to
Only.
Brittany Griner dunking a lot. So, she's there. But yeah, you're right. It got to be traumatizing for her to be in the airport and to, go overseas and to be treated like pretty much an animal over there. Come back, go through all that you're going through. And then, you got some, excuse me, racist ass punk, sexist ass punk who want to try to attack you in the airport.
It's
You
crazy.
know, you just literally in Dallas going to play another basketball game. Some guy break through all security, come try to attack you.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
yeah.
insane. Yeah. It's
Jamal,
never
what's your thoughts on that,
serious.
bro? Go
Yeah.
ahead, Eric. What were you saying?
Yeah, I was saying it's never that serious. Like, regardless of your opinion, like, just mind your business. It's not that deep.
Yeah, yeah.
She didn't murder anybody. Like, come on.
Right. That's just like for me, it appears to be so sexist. Like,
Yeah.
I like you mentioned all the key points, Ari. Woman, public figure, masculine,
Mm-hmm.
gay, like all this stuff. And people still are in 1905. Oh, she's this, she's that, she's this bad person, etc. And so as a result, let me go try to attack her.
Hey, you're an attacker, really. And I mean, honestly, I don't think they would have won that fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's huge.
It's sad,
For real.
plus she has security with it too, though. Ari.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah,
So,
and so Jamar, man, what's your thoughts on this for this to be happening in 2023 from some low
Good.
life who probably sit on the couch all day and don't even support the early morning sports talk podcast?
Yeah, no, they definitely not a supporter. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing that ridiculous stuff. No, it's wild. I'm like, I'm almost speechless. It's not that serious. It's not. Like it's not like that. She murdered somebody or did anything devious, just detrimental, just something wacky. But it just basically what I'm trying to say is that action does not fit what she did or how you feel about what she did. It doesn't make sense. There was no logic behind it. Like why? Like it's not that serious. Why are we doing this? That's how I feel about it. Like it's stupid to me.
Mm.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
And then really quick, there's 3 more comments here. Ian, who is getting to the bag, but he's watching us this morning. He said, "Aces, age is a beast." Deshaun said, "Pull up, mid range ain't dead." And Ian also said, "Yeah, she'll probably never be the same," as in Brittany Griner.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I want to bring up the point too that again, I know the funding isn't there, obviously, because I know everybody's like, why don't they do more for the WNBA? Why don't they pay them more? They don't have the money to do that. They don't play enough games. You need way more support. Things like it's getting better though, obviously, with media coverage and there's so many great players. But they just with the flights, them flying commercial. I think they're trying, like I said, trying to do charter flights now. But that whole thing is just it's very odd to me. Because I feel like there's college teams that are doing more than WNBA teams in
Right.
transportation. So it's very interesting. Like that shouldn't even been an option. They shouldn't have been there that open.
Facts.
So they're,
That's
I
a
think
very good point.
they're really gonna think about that for every team, hopefully.
Yeah, yeah. I would love to see guys like the NBA kind of help out the WNBA a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like they like
Okay.
really are two separate franchise. They separate. Just because they got WNBA and NBA don't mean it is association. And so I would love to see the NBA with all the money they make.
Right.
Just try to help out the WNBA a little bit more. I hope to see one day we get something on the news that'll say, the NBA or somebody help fund or put some money or invest into this league to help it grow and develop more, because it's really sad to see. And it shows you just how sexist our country is, just how sexist our society is. Like, people are still not ready to see women compete on basketball courts. It's a lot of people out there that's still not ready to see that, and they don't want to see that.
It's
like
so
Jamar
bad.
just stated, the person's not a supporter, or he's obviously not, because we support women on this podcast. Like, he's not ready to see Brittany Griner compete against, Brianna Jones or Jocelyn Jones. Like, Jamar and you and me, Ari, everybody are supporters right now. You guys have watched the WNBA games, and y'all know it is damn near just as entertaining as the NBA.
Yes.
It is highly entertaining.
Mhm.
Like, these girls can play, they can hoop. And so to, see what's happening still within our society, but when you see the product and you see it on the court, you're like, wow, they really are good. They really can play. It just kind of shows us where our society still is in a lot of, in regards to sexism, etc. And so, Jamar, you got any other questions? Because I want to ask Ari another question related to sexism in our country.
Oh, you can go ahead.
Yeah, so Ari, how do you feel about, you stated that things are getting better. And so do you think that do you think we can get better still in regards to our society to begin to see women's sports as an equal, etc.? I'm taking you somewhere, sis.
Mhm.
Okay, Caitlyn Clark in Iowa, right? Okay, Angel Reese, LSU.
Yes.
We watched one of the greatest NCAA tournaments, I feel like, in history.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
men or women.
Yeah.
And we saw literally, the comment that was made towards Angel Reese when she held up her hand, and Caitlyn Clark, correct me if I'm wrong, Jamar, she talked smack against LSU,
Yes.
South Carolina. She did this too.
Yes.
Yep.
She did it prior to, the Final Four, to multiple teams, etc. But when Angel Reese did it, we had celebrities. We have, the first lady who stated that, oh yeah, both teams played so well. They both should be invited to the White House. That was the first time I've ever heard that. Ever. And Lord knows, if I was Joe Biden, I would have looked at her and said, you messed me up for the next election. Like, thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. And so, what do you think, or how do you feel in regards to our society still looking at racism or looking at color based off of Angel Reese versus Caitlyn Clark, and just what room of improvement you think we have in order to bridge that gap? Because it's really, really sad to see when Caitlyn Clark does something, oh, she got swag, she's cool, she's this, white America's taking up for her, she's this and she's that. Angel Reese do it, she's an effing idiot. She's a thug, she's this and she's that. Like, how do you feel about that situation?
Yeah, it's a lot to be said there, even outside of sports, but I'll try to keep this short. I think in general, as we know, whiteness is attributed to purity. It's attributed to good. You think about white Santa. You think about there's so many examples of just the color white, again, being attributed to great. I think about teeth. That's why so many people are getting veneers and all these fake, these big chunky things in their mouth because they think it has to be white. It has to be good. It has to be perfect. And naturally your teeth, it's okay to have a little bit of yellow in it. But regardless, obviously, with Iowa being a predominantly white team, this is the first time that we really kind of seen that happen in a while, and especially like on a big stage like that. And much respect to Caitlyn. She's, again, like, I think she's just amazing. Like, literally Steph Curry-esque of women's sports. Like, when she gets to WNBA, watch out, because she literally is a great player. But like you said, it's always a problem when we do it. You know what I'm saying? When we want to get competitive, when we want to show our stuff as Black women. And it's like, there's so many battles and intersections that Black women have to face on a day-to-day basis. And it was just put on the national stage, and then not just with Angel Reese, you think about Simone Biles, you think about Gabby Douglas. It's always a problem. And you're always going to be seen as aggressive one. You're going to be seen as ghetto when you are just showing emotion, just like Caitlyn did. Like you just said, she just did it. I won. You know what I'm saying? And so this is my thing. It's not like she lost. This girl won a championship. Like, she has the right to boast, to say whatever she want to say, because she won. She won. She beat them fair and square. Not a close game, buzzer beater, blew them out. You know what I'm saying? So if she wants to do that, she can. Caitlyn Clark even said she did not care, and that's why she didn't react when she did it, because she's like, yeah, she got beat. So she was silent. She, much respect to her. You know what I'm saying? So it's always that battle for Black women when we show emotion. And even in women's sports, it's always a problem, when you're playing and you show emotion, and men do it all the time. So what's the problem? Like, because again, they see us as being like dainty, like we have to be pretty, we have to be nice. You can't do too much, you know what I'm saying? And this is sports at the end of the day. And so it's just for women's sports, it's an uphill battle, but for Black women, it's always going to be harder, and so I think that situation just showed, the difference right then and there, but versus Black women versus white women, and the challenges that they have to experience. Yes, not taking away from all women, we all, trans women, whatever, like, but Black women are always going to have it harder, you know what I'm saying? And that just showed a prime example of it. And then just with women's sports, I think that the college environment right now is really changing the game. And I think it's bringing more interest for the WNBA, and they need to capitalize off of it, because I think it's going to happen. There's going to be way more 4-year play. Well, of course, it's going to be 4-year players, but I mean, they probably going to, they're going to thing in my ankle. Let me stay a 5th year. You know what I'm saying? Let me go to grad school, because it's so great. The funding is all there with the NIL and all that stuff. Right. And so I think it feels to me like a simple fix. Like you said, imagine if like 10 NBA players came together and said, hey, let's just donate, especially like the top 10 players that are making all these millions of dollars, and donating it to teams, making new teams, expanding, so that they can have more spots, more media coverage, maybe extending the game, like maybe going to 40 game seasons. I don't know. Right. So it's a lot there, but much respect to Angel, because I like how she is unapologetically Black. And it's aggravating, because it's a problem, because LSU is Black. They're Black. They're not cute, not cute, but like, they're not coming off like we're just,
exactly. They rugged.
Like they play street ball, it seems like, you know what I'm saying? And I respect that, they're coming in, they're playing hard, and they won. So it should not be an issue. They just added I forgot her name right now. Haley. They just added Haley to the team too. And so they're making moves next season as well. And so that will be interesting because now, that is a white woman. So I feel like now everybody's going to join the wave because she's added now. But yeah, much respect to her. Again, I like how she is in the forefront. Unapologetically Black, just was in Cardi B's music video. So
she was? Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, she's making moves and I love it because again, it's showing how powerful women's sports can be. F the haters because it doesn't matter. Yeah.
And so Jamar, we got any comments out there, bro?
We do. Give me a second. I'm pretty sure I saw one from Deshaun here. Yep.
Yeah, you bring up a really good point about the women's sports.
All right. So Deshaun said he got two things. First, he said blasphemy that has never happened. Iowa lost. You don't get a trip to the White House when you're a runner-up, period. What trend/example are they setting by doing that? Iowa's invitation should have never happened. He also said, I absolutely love what Clark Reese has done for women's basketball, not just for NIL deals, but for opening the little girl's eyes of every color, saying that, she looks like me and she's a champion. They put on a show and now they have eyes of an audience they never had. It's amazing for the future of women's basketball. And I do have a question, more so a question with that as well, if you don't mind. So with that, Brandon, I know you mentioned this is one of the most exciting tournaments ever. And it was to the point to where I was more engaged in the women's tournament than the men's this year. And
I gotta laugh, Jamar, because we be thinking alike. Dude, that was my next question. Go ahead.
And so with that, with all the exposure, the hype and stuff, but how I'm going to tailor this is going to be more geared towards the WNBA. Because Brandon, I kind of, had a take about this not too long ago about how, the WNBA, if I'm not mistaken, has 3 draft rounds, right? But then it's all of these players, even from the LSU team that just won, all these cuts and stuff in the WNBA, it's just if I know the NCAA and the WNBA is different, but they intertwine because of the players. But it's can there be a way for the WNBA to actually, capitalize off of the success of the NCAA tournament and with getting new viewers, getting more people interested in by not cutting as many players, because it's if you get what I'm saying, it's if you're interested in stuff like this, we got a whole new audience come in. But yeah, you want to see them at the next level, but it's half the team or more than half the team's getting cut before the start of the season. It's I came here to watch the people that I just saw in the tournament. They are making this I feel like there's a conflict here.
Yeah, and it seems like it's really hard to make a WNBA cut. Is also what we're saying here, Ari.
Yes.
It is. It's definitely and I think what people fail to realize, I get it. I understand it hurts to see your favorite players from college get cut. But what people don't realize, this is not, and again, I think it just goes into that, women are delicate, this is easy. No, these are the best players in the world. These are elite veteran players. You have to be elite. You have to be the not Angel,
Creme de la creme?
From the Aces, Aja Wilson. You have to be the South Carolina, I can't think of her name right now. Just drafted to Indiana. You have to be. Yes, you have to be next level. You know what I'm saying? So you're coming out of college. And you're coming into this team, you're trying out, you're competing. This is not baby stuff. You have to be automatically ready. And so even though you just graduated, training camp is a couple weeks later, you have to be ready. You have to quickly shift your mind, get in the gym, whatever you have to do, and come in and compete and be ready to play because the season's about to start. And so if they're coming in and they're not ready, they're not going to wait for you to get ready. They're going to cut you. They're going to waive you, whatever you want to call it. So people got to realize that. Alexis Morris got a lot of heat for kind of talking about this, but essentially that's kind of what she was saying. She felt like she was not prepared to do that kind of level of work. And essentially that's what it is. Like, and that's why I say, you know, you got to go overseas for a while. You have to grow up a little bit. You got to really understand the game. And every team is different. They have a different style. And so I do think that the WNBA needs to capitalize. I think it's a simple fix. They can make like a G League type thing. So there's more leagues coming into play. Like they have the AEBL, they have the Athletes Unlimited that are trying to build that, but that's not even affiliated with WNBA. I think if the WNBA makes like a G League type of like not lower level, so that development league.
I like that.
So
I like
that.
that. Like
Those types of players, like, hey, like you're not ready to play at this level yet. Let's go to the league for a couple of years, maybe a year, a season, whatever. You can play it at the same time. It can be in the same cities. That can be a simple solution. But again, that comes with funding. And NBA players or whoever has to invest in this, you know. But like I said, I see both sides. Like, it's sad, but you have to be ready, you know, and they're not, this is a business at the end of the day. Like you have to come in and do your job, because we're not just going to pay, regardless if it's 70,000 or whatever. I know it's not a lot of money, but it's a job, you know. It's just like a career. Like you go into a job, if you're not doing your job, it's been like 6 months, sometimes for some jobs, 3, a couple weeks. Okay, I'm gonna give you your 2-week notice, you're out, you know. So it's a business at the end of the day. Yeah.
Right. This is factual. Absolutely. Yes. And thank you for answering all our questions, Ari. You know, we got you here and you just rocking with us. It's fantastic. And by the way, that sister that you're talking about that played for South Carolina, that dominated for a number of years and that got drafted #1 by the Indiana Fever, Aaliyah Boston.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
And thank you for that, my bro. Thank you for that, Em. And so, yeah, you know, like we see a potential there. Let's say, I don't know, Jamar, you can chime in after me. My last question for you, sis, is in regards to the women's basketball sector, and you seeing the NCAA tournaments that occurred, you know, I was really, really fascinated, Jamar, by watching the Cinderellas on the men's side. You know, we had San Diego State, who turned out to be our national champion. You see them compete against a little small school from Florida, in which Jamar pointed out this kid was from Gary, Indiana, etc. These are the Florida Atlantic Owls. You saw a number of celebrations. You saw Loyola Chicago, for example. You see all these Cinderellas, right? And now they are beating Dukes. They are beating North Carolinas. North Carolina didn't make the tournament, sorry. They are beating big schools, Texas, etc. And they are, you know, overtaking these one and done schools and these, you know, small programs, Ari, are, you know, beating these big programs, and they're making further runs in an NCAA tournament. But as a result, Jamar, I think you kind of see it too. It's like the popularity has spiraled down for men's basketball because they've gotten so used, Ari, to seeing the blue collar programs, or what do you call them? The, you know, just the
blue bloods.
Yes, the blue bloods dominate the spectrum so long to now you got Florida Atlantic, San Diego State, etc. Right. But that's kind of helped, like, in a way, unfortunately, downgrade the popularity. Whereas with the women's spectrum, we saw one of the greatest tournaments played. Right. We even had a little drama that occurred. Not saying that that's a good drama, but it's kind of in a way a good drama because I feel like it's helped put more eyes on the women's basketball sector. Do you think that it's an opportunity for women's college basketball to eventually overtake men's college basketball?
Oh yeah, definitely.
In both scenarios.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, it's not good drama, but it's coverage, and everybody fed off of it. It helped a lot of, you know, companies or whatever you want to say. So, I mean, I definitely think so. I wasn't even tuned in as usual for the men's side, and I'm usually way more tuned in. But I didn't even think about it from that perspective. Like, it was good for those teams, but it definitely kind of, you know, down the coverage, like you said. I can see us continuing to happen because it feels like what the women's side is doing now. You got like these super, like, and I feel like they got a super team now with the LSU. And so I think I'm just excited to see the next season. It's certainly gonna be a lot of fire. And again, like the WNBA has to take advantage of this. Like they got to do something. I know it's going to take time. I wish there was some type of developmental league, because it would be very heartbreaking not to see like Caitlyn Clark and Angel Reese on a team, because them two right there alone coming into the league, they're going to bring a lot of coverage just to the WNBA. So yeah, there's a lot of fire on that side. It was one of the best series, like for real. So yeah, it's going to be interesting what happens within the next couple of years. And I just want to continue to see it grow. Like, it feels like we're finally starting to get the respect that we deserve just as women in sports. So
it's growing for sure. It's growing.
Yes.
It might not be growing at the way we wanted to, but it's growing for sure.
Yeah.
Slowly
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah. So Jamar, just curious, bro. You got any other questions, etc.?
No, not this time. I'm tapped out. She did a fantastic job.
She did a fantastic job, didn't she? And Prescott JB, good morning, Prescott JB. He stated, how funny would it be to see a bunch of 5-star football players decided to go to Rutgers and destroy everyone? And so he's kind of come in basically stating, on the basis of, we see at LSU and we see with these super teams occurring, how it would be to see it. Prescott JB is more of a football guy. So he used it from a football analogy.
Yeah. No,
So,
I feel like that's what they're going to start doing. I mean, and then, like I said, WNBA is learning from that. And that's why New York Liberty has all those star-studded players. That's why the Aces added another star. So, I mean, it just helps the coverage. It sucks for the other teams, but it does help. Yes.
But imagine being one of the small teams, Ari, right? Like Chicago Skyline.
Yeah.
Going into the playoffs and knocking off the Liberty.
Oh my gosh, that would be amazing. Yeah. I mean, and even watching the Mystics, because I'm been able to.
They're good this year. They are really good this year.
Yeah,
yes.
They're looking like they're formulating. They're just forming. They look really good together. And like I said, no injuries. Like, they will be great for sure. I wouldn't count them out either.
Right. I mean, they still got a Layden Dunn. They still got their core.
Right.
That's the thing about Washington. They still got that core.
That's what I'm saying. They knocked out the Liberty in the first game. So they look so good. So, I mean, yeah, can't count, like you said, can't count the small teams out either. And especially if you underestimate, because that even happened with Connecticut. Almost, they were kind of.
I mean, that happened last year in the playoffs.
They had a chance.
Right? Nobody expected them to
Nobody expected that. But again, like I said, personally, I think them having Courtney Williams again just it elevates. I know nobody want to talk about it, but that is the truth.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Courtney Williams doing her thing for the Chicago Sky and leading us to be a good team this year. And so, yes. With that being said, before we get to our sister to do a shout out, we want to just do a shout out to the Stanley Cup champion Las Vegas Golden Knights. Congratulations to that first Stanley Cup championship. And so, yes, with that being said, sis, it has been a pleasure. We want to do a part of our segment as we close every weekend. We want to do final thoughts and shout outs. And so want to ask you, and then we'll go to Jamar as well. Any final thoughts or shout outs as we head into the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say, like, again, just take any opportunity given to you. Don't ask or doubt yourself. Just go for it. And even if you fail, I kind of think about Giannis in that failure video. And it kind of made me mad because it's a failure. It's okay to fail. And I think it just builds us. I failed and had so many recent no's in the past, and so those things happen. It's about what you do next. I know it seems simple, but just move forward, like build from it. I want to shout out my agent, Helen. Like she allowed me the opportunity to even come here. So I really appreciate her and her just supporting me for the last year and being like one of my biggest motivators. And even when I failed, just keeping me grounded, keeping me patient. because again, and keeping me accountable, because I do so many things. And so it's helpful to have somebody there to like keep me organized in that sense. My mom, my dad, my grandma, but my brothers, they again just always have supported me and have motivated me to just be great. And so, yeah, it's so many people to name, but I'm just, again, so grateful for all the people that have been in my corner, like actually been in my corner and know how hard it is just to be a Black woman in America and have goals and be confident and be me. It's not an easy thing. It's a lot of, battles that, I have to face.
Right.
And I think just by staying grounded and, doing my self-care and just, whatever I need to do, to just stay at peace. Cause really I think that's my goal. I want to stay at peace and just feel, and feel great, cause it's just a lot of things that easily can, distract you or knock you off your course. And so you have to remember that and be yourself at the end of the day. Cause if you try to be someone else, you're going to be, you're going to be disappointed. So that's all I have. Yeah.
Wow. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Jamar, bro, any final thoughts or shout outs to head into the weekend?
Most definitely. I'm shouting out our guest.
Absolutely.
I'm definitely shouting her out. Thank you for joining us this morning. We appreciate your insight, appreciate everything you have done so far. Like I told you many a times, background, what you've done so far in your life is very impressive. So yeah, I really hope you come back with us in the fall. I really do. I want to see your face again with us.
Yeah, definitely. Let me know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, as stated, it'd be a different platform. And so we definitely look forward to having you back, sis. I want to shout out as well. I want to shout out Helen Bohanna. She knows her sport.
Yes.
LLC. Helen, you are now our second guest. We brought on a guest before, and she is a very nice hooper. We support her in various ways, and we expect the same from us. We will do the same for you, sis.
Yes, thank you.
Yes. And so, world, we appreciate you all for rocking with us this morning. A lot of great viewership this morning. A lot of great comments. We appreciate your support, guys. And may each of you have a blessed weekend. Know that with God, all things are possible. Thank you all for rocking with us, and may each of you have a great weekend. Peace.